So, if you've been paying attention, obviously there was a Washington Post journalist, Jamal Khashoggi. Sorry if I mispronounced his name. And basically, he went into the embassy, the Saudi Arabian embassy in Istanbul, and never came out. So essentially, everybody has known since this happened that he was assassinated in the Saudi Arabian embassy. And the corporate media suddenly, because of this, now they are starting to understand that Saudi Arabia is, dare I say, not a friend to democracy. They weren't talking about that when Saudi Arabia has been committing genocide on Yemen by our bombs, using our bombs. We're refueling their airplanes and tanks. They could not care less about the genocide being perpetrated in Yemen. But when a journalist, and I think they should care that a journalist was killed by Saudi Arabia, that's when they care. So today, it's starting to come out that Saudi Arabia is going to admit that Jamal was killed in their embassy, and they are coming up with some fakakta story, kooky story, that he was killed in the embassy, but it was like an interrogation gone bad. Of course, this is preposterous. They assassinated him. It was done at the behest of Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, and this is nonsense. It wasn't some, interrogation gone wrong. And anyone who believes that, I got a bridge to sell you. Got a bridge to sell you. Thank you, Robert McMurdy. $200 donation on the GoFundMe. We are now at 11,980. 11,980. So who's going to put us over 12,000? Can't wait. We are well on to our goal of 15,000 by the end of the month. And by the way, Ty and I are already talking about going back in the field thanks to your contributions. I think you'll like where we're thinking of going. So we'll have more news on that as we go. So all of a sudden, the media is just outraged, totally outraged at Saudi Arabia being a brutal, authoritarian, fascist, basically murderers. Now we care. Well, what about the fact that half the media is in bed with Saudi Arabia? Does anyone care about this? I mean, of course, the media, like I said, don't give a damn that we've been helping Saudi Arabia starve all of Yemen, murder children, dropping bombs on school buses and all those things. Who cares about that, right? I mean, these CNN and MSNBC people, they live in very nice lofts, very nice little condos in Manhattan. Yemen is very far away. Their children are fine, so who cares about Yemen, right? But literally, it took this happening. Look at all of these media outlets that dropped out of some fancy, like in, Davos in the desert, I think it was called. Some investment conference in Saudi Arabia. Jen, my business partner, put this research together. You got the New York Times, quote, "I'm terribly distressed by the disappearance of journalist Jamal Khashoggi and reports of his murder." Andrew Ross Sorkin, New York Times columnist and CNBC anchor, tweeted, "I will no longer be participating in the future investment initiative." CNBC, they're gone. LA Times, Patrick Soon-Shiong, the publisher of the Los Angeles Times, has also decided to skip the event. Okay. Huffington Post, entrepreneur Huffington Post, will also not participate. Fox Business tells the NBC News the matter is under review. Blah, 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 blah. One of their anchors is supposed to be there. CNN has withdrawn its participation in the Saudi event. Financial Times has said they will no longer be partnering with the conference, while the disappearance of Khashoggi, and again, my apologies if I'm mispronouncing his name, Khashoggi, I think it is. So CNN, the Financial Times and CNN, yeah, we were fine partnering, while Saudi Arabia was helping to commit genocide in Yemen. That's cool. But when you kill a journalist, that's one step too far. And by the way, I'm for them backing out. A journalist being killed is horrendous. I'm a journalist. If that happened to me, I would want people to back out of a conference. And my mother would not be happy. She would go to Saudi Arabia and raise hell, my mother, who might be calling me because I'm supposed to meet with her tonight, and I'm going to be late. So she's not happy with me. Halliburton is now headquartered in Saudi Arabia. Why am I not surprised? Thank you, Kay Vinter. Let's keep going. Who else? Who else? Bloomberg. That the company would no longer be a media partner. So Bloomberg was going to go and be partners for this stupid initiative conference. The Economist would no longer be a part of it. AOL, one of the co-founders, not going. I mean, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. So basically, all the heavy hitter media companies were planning, before this happened, on partnering with Saudi Arabia, who is committing genocide. And you know what? As a Jewish person, and I want to pull out my Jewish card, the United States sat there and allowed the Jews to be slaughtered in the Holocaust. And Yemen, although not as many people have died, sorry, Grober Schwarzer man, Jordan, don't you have your wife's black son to worry about instead of making a gay live stream? I don't know which part of that is more ridiculous. A, I don't have a wife or a black son, and I don't know what a gay live stream is. I mean, I did get a new backdrop. But I don't know what makes it a gay. I mean, I'm cool with a gay backdrop. Maybe I will put a gay backdrop up. I happen to be heterosexual, but no idea what that means. And that's how you know. That's how you know your YouTube channel is really starting to take off. As I said at the beginning, we just passed 20,000 subscribers. You get more haters. You get more haters in the chat. I welcome it. Welcome, haters. So, not only do they not care about Yemen, they don't care that we're slaughtering people. They don't care about the mass famine. They don't care. It's when a journalist is killed. And Glenn Greenwald over at The Intercept has more. I mean, it's unbelievable at the hypocrisy. Look at this. So you have Carter Eskew, a former top-level advisor of Al Gore's 2000 presidential campaign. He's the managing director of Glover Park Group, which is one of the biggest lobbying firms in all of D.C. He's also, get it, a Washington Post columnist. So the head of one of the biggest lobbying firms in all of D.C. is also a Washington Post columnist. Who is one of those lobbying firms that he's the managing director of? Who's their biggest client? One of their biggest? Second most active lobbying firm for the Saudi regime, being paid $150,000 a month. That's a Washington Post columnist. Which, first off, why does the Washington Post have so many columnists that are also lobbyists? Wow, that really, you know, what a slogan. Democracy dies in the darkness, but not for lobbyists. Right? Oh, the Washington Post. It's terrible. This is a great, I mean, it's unreal. By the way, this managing director, who is the managing director, he's an opinion columnist for the Washington Post. Well, he also writes columns attacking Medicare for All without disclosing that some of his clients include corporations with direct financial interests in pharmaceutical companies. But why would the Washington Post disclose that? Hey, half the time the Washington Post writes puff pieces for Jeff Bezos and kind of mentions somewhere in the bottom of the story that Jeff Bezos owns the Washington Post. But it's not just that. They also have, let's see. There's another one. Ed Rogers here at the Washington Post. Longtime GOP operative. He's an opinion writer for the Post. Well, guess who he works for? He's the chairman of a lobbying firm, the BGR Group, and he signed a new contract that includes assisting the Saudis in communicating priority issues regarding U.S.-Saudi relations to American audiences, including the media and policy communities. AKA, the Washington Post literally has two lobbyists writing opinion columns for them that are making money off of Saudi Arabia, who commits genocide against Yemen. Democracy dies in the darkness, except you're a lobbyist.